What a bunch of what a stupid thing to do. And if you've got a new render system, don't let people go back to the old one. Wouldn't that solve everything? You're all muted now, just laughing at me. They're all muted, people, just laughing at me because I'm ranting. I'm ranting.
Well, you need to check. You need to check what the moderators are putting in the moderation chat
about Unity, about Unreal.
No, just
what?
Just read it.
Are you guys putting things in there? Horrible things about me. 5 hours later.
Love it.
Welcome to the Graphters podcast.
Afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Gary.
How are you doing, mate?
Yep, I am ready for Christmas.
I was going to say Merry Christmas.
This is the Christmas edition.
Both of us with our Santa beards.
Well, Santa stubble for you.
Well, yeah. Well, it was getting a bit longer, but then to be honest with you, I got to the stage where I was like, wanted to pull my own flesh off my face because it was getting on my nerves so much. So I just thought, right, that's it. I'm not going to have it. So I just basically went and I've got a beard trimmer, so I trimmed it back. And I could feel the problem with me is I always end up getting cold sores right here, just above the soul patch area, whenever I grow a bit of a beard. And I started getting one on my top lip, and I'm like, oh, don't want that. Don't want that.
Wow, the first beat.
So that's why I shaved it back. And the moment I shaved it back, it stopped tickling, and because I'm really prone to cold sores anyway. So I just have to do anything to avoid actually getting one.
Yeah, well, that's the first beep sorted, and it wasn't me today.
What did I say?
There's a second beep. Third, way. Oh, and it's like you wouldn't believe your mother's here.
She's not. Is she here? I tell you, she's worse than me. She'd fill the swear jar 10 times faster than I would. But yes. Every word of it.
Oh, so yeah, very, 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 very busy year.
And good fun.
Too much to put into one podcast, I'm sure, but lots of travel.
We'll try.
Lots of supporting education. We met up a couple of times, which has been great.
Yeah.
Which has been cool. We've created a monster.
We have. I guess, but it's a good monster.
It is the best.
We've met some very nice people. We've met some slightly sillier people who occasionally might have to be banned. But more than anything, in my humble opinion, I have had the greatest pleasure of meeting. I'm currently looking at 2 other people who have become very integral parts of what we're talking about, which is the Graphters podcast Discord server. All the time we've been doing this, talking about stuff in relation. The whole thing with the podcast started, it wasn't the main gist was to become this way of saying about education, and it wasn't initially the thought that came into our heads was we're going to talk about education and industry and try and get the two together, but it's kind of become this thing.
It has.
And we've been able to do this and make it bigger and make it more of a thing that can be out there to help people. And starting the Discord server was initially mine and John's way of seeing if we could do recordings like this with less financial input going into it, because we can use a little bot called Craig, who's recording us right now. Short
arms, deep pockets.
That's the
that's the intro, Sword.
So basically, we said, should we open this up to a bigger crowd? And at this point, Tim was already involved in the someone who might be in the room was already chatting to us about it, and we did. I just sort of went, right, that's it, and I had a quiet day, and I did a very, very bad job of making it open to everybody, and then thankfully other people came on board and just went, you can do this better. Well, let's put it this way, I can do this better. And thank God they're both still around. And it would be very nice, if you wouldn't mind, one after another, introducing yourself so people know it's not just me and John chatting for the rest of this conversation. And we'll start with, let's go alphabetically on this. So let's go first name alphabetically. So I believe that means that the one that starts with E should go first. Am I correct?
No. I guess that's right.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Not you,
I'm
John.
Emily.
I am. And could you you just a favour? Can you just tell a little bit about yourself, what you do for a living, and just so anybody who's listening can put a voice to the little icon, as it were, in relation to the podcast server.
Yeah, that's fine. So my actual name is Emily, but I typically go by M just because it's easier. Because there's a lot of Emilys in the world. But what I do in the games industry is I work as a 3D vehicle artist at a studio called Rivet Games, which is based in Scotland.
That's fantastic.
So I make trains. Yes, the meme. I like trains.
You do?
I do. But before that, I worked on a very small game called Red Dead Redemption.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. Not many people have heard of it, to be fair.
No. I've got a mate, by the way, and I haven't told you this. Or maybe I have. He has got a massive wraparound screen, like a big curved one. It literally is the distance from my one arm all the way to the other arm. He said, losing recording sound. Which is just he plays Red Dead Redemption on, and he plays it almost every day, and he loves it. He's completed it. He's just now wandering around on his horse, going all over the landscape. He loves it so much, and I keep on saying. He said, "You've got to play it. You've got to play it. You've got to play it." And he's the same age as me. He's 53. He absolutely adores that game. So well done. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's now available on PlayStation 4 and Switch.
Is it on the Switch?
Yeah. Yeah.
How did they fit that onto a Switch game?
Very easily, actually. Although I can't talk about it. But
excellent.
Very, very well designed small asset library.
Yeah. Let's just say the Switch works exactly like a Xbox 360 and PS3.
Ah, cool.
So
that makes sense, actually.
Yeah.
So it wasn't difficult to mod it, basically.
Port
it, sorry, not mod it. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You wouldn't believe I actually worked in the games industry, would you?
No.
I haven't got any of the lingo at all anymore. Back in the days of side quests sticking out of Sega Mega Drives.
Back then they were using cassette tapes.
It wasn't quite that. I'm not that. Well, yes, no, I remember them, but I'm not. I didn't work in the industry when they were like that.
No.
It was side quests and lots of PCs and Amigas.
And we should then introduce our other guest.
Hi, my name's Tim.
Morning, Tim. Afternoon,
Hello,
Tim.
Tim.
Evening, Tim.
Hello, Em. Pleased to meet you. My name's Tim. I'm a multimedia generalist, specialised in 3D at Birmingham City University. So I currently work as a job title of a learning technologist.
A learning technologist.
Technologist.
That needs to change to a learned technologist.
Yes.
That sounds weird, to be brutally honest.
But we talk what, learning or learned?
Learned.
Yeah.
Yes, but that could get extended to Leonard, and then we're into Big Bang Theory.
It kind of sounds like something that's just gone through Google Translate and got lost.
Yes.
Oh.
Like most of the things come out of my mouth, for example.
So instead of lost in space, it'd be lost in Google Translate.
Yeah.
Lost in Google Translation.
Yep. Whole different show.
So my background's mainly been within academia for best part of over 20 odd years. Mainly specialised with 3D Studio Max until budgets ran out, and now moved on to Blender. But then, and After Effects, Premiere, all the other things, everything in between, and then like back in the days of Wino, Lightwave, etc.
So we'll use the word a multidisciplinarian.
Yeah, hence the multimedia generalist. It's an easy way to just say that I've got skills in lots of things.
It's very self-evident as well, because I mean the times that we've already turned to you and asked you for help, and you were always there.
But now we have M, so I feel so much better.
Sometimes when we don't realise that you're there.
Yeah, always watching, always
listening, always making sure that I get out of the chat and don't stay in it for 2 hours longer without even realising I'm in a chat.
Yes.
I've only done it the once.
So far.
So 3 times, maybe. 3 times. Yeah. It's just everyone leaves the chat and I go, yeah, I've left the chat. Carry on the world. People just pop in and going, what the hell is Gary doing? Is that the washing machine?
Anybody listening, Gary was listening to Beverly Hills Cop while working in the Discord channel.
I think you'll find I was actually, yes. In fact, it was lovely when he just said, Gary, you're there. I'm just like, what is going on? What? Is that Beverly Hills Cop you're watching? Might be. I can't remember. It was the bit where he's being forced into the car, wasn't it? He'd just been chucked out through the window. And then he's being forced into the car. Great film. Great film. Haven't seen it in so long. Forgotten how good it was.
So that's the intro's over. So what's everybody been doing? Oh, so we obviously we talked about the Discord server, I think, on the last podcast, because obviously we had Ollie on, didn't we? He was the last guest.
We did, yeah. That seemed to go down quite well. A lot of people have been saying how they really enjoyed that one.
Well, certainly the people that have listened to it in the Discord server. Remember, if you're in the Discord server, you get to hear it first.
You do. But saying that, it actually went live on the day that we were actually recording, so everyone can hear it now.
We'd taken, yeah. Yep. So Ollie was great. He's gone down a storm, and everybody's really excited about his potential futures because came across really well. So that's good.
He definitely is a 16-year-old sounding like he's about a 25-year-old.
And that's not to do him a disservice because he's not old before his time. I think he's just really wizened up to what he wants to do, which is
he's on it.
Refreshing.
Yeah, he definitely is. So on that, I mean, obviously he's 16. Tim, when did you realise you wanted to do this kind of thing for a living?
Oh, this is going to take me back when I was 16. I was at college doing technical illustration. So back in the days of airbrushing, acetate sheets, and all those sort of things. I didn't touch computers until I think it was in my final year of that, where I got introduced to, I think it was Director. I think it was when I started learning coding Director, which sort of came around the time of Flash and Photoshop, etc. And I realised, this is kind of cool. This is better than spending hours upon hours of cutting stuff out of acetate and airbrushing it.
Was it Macromedia Director at the time?
Yes,
that's the one, Macromedia Director back in the day.
Yeah. God, that's a memory.
And then I found a course at University in Staffordshire, Stoke-on-Trent. Did a course on that, and then within the first year, I met a tutor who showed us 3D Studio Max, and then I fell in love with that. And then the course stopped us doing anything good 3D because they wanted us to do Flash.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I kept my hand in 3D, stayed within 3D, but while still doing Flash and sort of all the elements of color theory that kind of helped in the own day. But 3D was frowned upon back then, and then sort of progressed into using 3D and combining it with Flash. And then when Flash went out the window, we then started exploring the different routes with that. Got very on early with Unity and Unreal, and sort of just progressed that way. This is back in 1996 time, and that's when my journey sort of started to begin.
So is that when 96 was when you went to uni?
96 was when I was at college. I went to uni in 1998.
Right, okay. So I'm just trying to. I want to don't feel quite as. I don't want to feel quite as goddamn old as I do right now, around everybody.
Back in the day of like zip drives coming in around this basically lunchbox.
Those big blue ones.
Yeah, put your zip disk in that.
They were great. They were.
Or 100 megs of data on a zip disk. Let's go.
Massive, incredible. What about you, Em? When did you suddenly realise this is what you wanted to do?
Well, I'm going to feel bad now because I'm really young.
You don't feel bad. It's fine.
After that conversation.
No. This is the reason why I sort of addressed it with Tim first and then came to you.
To be fair, compared to Ollie, you are old. So there you go.
Okay. I'm only 25 in like 3 months, but okay. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I went to school and then I wanted to be a personal trainer.
Okay.
But the school decided to put me on BTEC instead of GCSE and I got butthurt by that.
Yeah.
So then I switched doing BTEC over to GCSE computing and learned Python.
Okay. Really?
Yeah. Completely forgot all of that. And then I thought, why don't I be a chef? And I am probably one of the world's fussiest eaters. So that didn't really work out because I went up to the college to enroll into the cooking course and they were like, you do have to try everything you make, by the way. And I was like, oh, I can't do that. So then I went back over to school and said, oh, I'll just do sixth form. I'll do my A-levels. And about 2 weeks before I was meant to start doing that, I just went back to Gates College and said, I want to do the games course. And I'm not even kidding. my mum looked at me and said, "That's not a job for women." And I was like, well, I'm going to prove you wrong. I knew absolutely nothing about video games, didn't grow up with them because didn't have the money for it. Like I had a Nintendo Wii, that was about it. But yeah, so I went and did the games design course at Gateshead College. Started in level 3. I asked to start in level 2, but they said I had 2 good GCSEs to start in level 2, so did level 3. Only girl on the course. That was a good time. And then halfway through my second year, which was the final year for college, I looked into doing university. And then I just enrolled into Teesside Uni and then went up to my parents and was like, by the way, I'm going to uni next. And they were like, oh, okay, you're going to Newcastle Uni, right? Because I'm from Newcastle. And I was like, oh, no, I'm going to go to Teesside. They're like, where's that? And I was like, Middlesbrough. And they were like, no, you can't go there.
They actually said no.
Yeah. And I was like, too bad. I'm 18 now. I could do what I want.
It's not. There's a fair bit of rivalry in the northeast.
Yeah.
That's not an understatement, is it?
It's not. But yeah, so my dad was like, oh, so you're just going to commute every day, right? Because there's a bus like directly. I was like, oh, no, I'm going to move down there. And my parents were so scared for my life.
It's the glee on your face. I can't get over the glee on your face as you recount this story. It's like,
yeah. But yeah, so started uni in 2017 and then did my final year in 2020 when the pandemic hit. So everything kind of fell apart. And then it took 2.5 years to get a job in the industry because it's pretty difficult. Not gonna lie.
But you are working.
I am working. I'm enjoying it. And now I basically have been trying to help students get into the industry. So I made a Discord server called the Games Industry Events Discord server. Just to let people know when games industry events are, because when I left uni, I didn't know there was any, apart from like the big things like Insomnia and EGX. But there are so many events. Yeah.
I don't think I actually realised how many events there were either. Because you only, unless you're actually actively looking for them, or have a place now where they can actually look for them, which is your Discord. You know, you're right. I would never have known. You know, there's like loads in Scotland, and there's one in Oxford, and then there's like, you know, then there's a couple in Manchester, and then there's another one in Liverpool, and oh look, there's one down here, and you know, it's just everywhere. And they're I wish the VFX industry and the TV industry had the same get up and go in this respect as the games industry does.
Weirdly enough, they do. I mean, there's Access VFX, the stuff that Simon Devereaux does from Framestore. But it's not the same thing. Because the weird thing is that's more directed to trying to channel in the talent pipeline and to mentor the talent pipeline. Whereas I think the stuff, certainly the stuff on the Discord server that M's done, is it just scratches the surface of it as well, because you miss some as well, don't you? Sometimes it's kind of like there are so many little, you know, get-togethers, people just spontaneously meet up, which happens in Soho all the time with the VFX industry. But that's kind of like a closed community in itself, is, you know, the London post-production industry, isn't it? But because games is so spread out and diaspora, that you get these like, you know, meetups like the Toast one at Leeds that Andy does. That's just awesome because it's so regular. You get to see regular, you know, people dropping in, but there's people that, you know, are trying to push productions. They're trying to look for people that to get involved. I mean, you know, you span off somebody out of the back of one of those, didn't you, Gary? You know, you know, there are people out there that are desperately seeking artists and creators and coders, but they don't necessarily have a company vehicle to carry it forward.
No.
So, and then from that, you get these great little startups that pop up then as something gets picked up. So, you know, students need to be aware, like Em says, more and more of what's, you know, where these connections are.
Yeah.
That kind of leads us a little bit to what we then did, which was like, do you know what? Why don't we plug some of these students into that sort of world off the back of what we were doing?
Yeah,
and we completely made the worst probably Discord server in the world for the 48 hours that it was up and running before Tim said, I can't stand this anymore. We need to make some changes.
Tim. Yeah, Tim. I need to listen. I will not just try to fix you. I will fix you. He came in and basically cold-played us.
He did. He did.
Yeah. Thank God.
Yeah, we were all yellow. That was it. Literally.
But he's now become my universe. Can we keep on going with this? I'm sure.
I think I can't remember where we were chatting. I don't know if it was definitely at one of the events we were at. And I sort of said, "Oh yeah, we've got a Discord server." And you went, "Hey, I do Discord servers." And I was kind of like,
"You poor child.
You don't know what you just said, Em. You're in so much trouble now."
It was EGX.
EGX, yeah, of course it was. Yeah, it was EGX.
Because Bruce was on stage doing a talk about VFX at the time.
That was it.
Tech art. And we were just stood talking, and you were like, "Oh, we have a Discord server." And I was like, "I can help you if you want."
Yeah, you literally said that, and I was like,
"Yeah." And then you invited me to it, give me no privileges at all. So I was like, "I'll wait a bit, I guess." And then the next time I see you, which I think was Cambridge. Yeah, you were like, "I need to give you admin privilege."
No, and then he contacted me and said, "Gary, give admin privileges."
It was like 3 weeks later or something.
If I knew about this sooner, you'd been in a whole lot quicker.
No, actually, I mean mod privileges, but actually the best thing I think we both did was sitting down and just chatting and going, we really should make them admins. Really.
Yeah, not moderators.
It definitely is. You guys are basically the yin to our yangs.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of an idea, and then you basically turn it into something a lot better. So thank you for that. But saying that, did I not today succeed in creating a forum without any help and put in the rules and made an announcement?
It's like watching a kid ride a bike for the first time.
I felt so joyful until Tim said, "Hang on, you missed something."
And then I walked away.
Yes.
Because he was bloody lying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
You see.
I think. The good thing is that we're definitely starting to. I'm definitely the recruiter of people entering into this Discord. That is definitely
you are. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I just sit there and Noden them. Apparently, according to you.
Well, yes, but that's what you're there for. When you've been Nodened. It's usually about 4 paragraphs.
You make it sound so much worse than it is when you say things like that. But to be honest with you, that's been one of the nicest things. Not that description, but it's one of the nicest things has literally been, when we've had someone who said, "What's wrong with this? I can't. I want to get this like this." And Tim, you and I together, that I think it was Ellie, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was having difficulty making the platform for her for a big Greek dog service.
It's looking really nice.
It looks beautiful. It's really coming on. The lighting, was going to need a little bit of work. But it was like, talking to her about that. And then another one, Tane, who was doing something with basically doing a TV show intro.
Yeah.
It's like a wizard's book. And
you Nodened that one.
No, I didn't so much. Can we stop using it? Really? Can we please stop using it? I just basically, it's horrible. So when they'd done their piece, and I was like, I just went into I just want to do this. This is literally one of my favourite things in the world is doing title sequences, and I've done a few in the past.
It's going to be interesting to see the final result when she posts it. Because
I can't wait to see all the stuff. That's the thing. It's bringing out my inner teacher, which has always been very close to the surface anyway. But being able to turn around, because I can easily turn around to anyone who does this sort of stuff, like VFX, sort of things like that, and TV broadcast and making it sort of like doing camera moves. That's a lot of what I do, and so I understand about timing and pacing a lot better, just because I've been doing it for so long, and I know that I can pass that information on and help them. But then it's there's the education side as well. So so the things that Em can basically teach, and the things that you can teach. And and it really helps them. And it just, I don't know about how you guys feel about it, but every time I do something else, think I've helped somebody, it makes me feel wonderful. I absolutely love being able to give people advice and helping them. So I also like being honest with them.
I do feel we might need to put a slow mode on biscuits, though.
Well, hopefully, it depends.
Slow mode biscuits when you two get going, yes.
So we have the moderators / admins / and I think Em said it best when she went, "I have the power." GIF came up at that point. I think we knew we knew we'd made the right decision.
Yep.
'Cause obviously, anybody that's got that confidence to say that, you're in safe hands.
And then you get special things like the mod pod.
What's the mod pod?
This podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, my brain. I was like, huh?
Is that it? Is that it?
It's the mod pod.
Can I go home now?
We can go home. It's the mod pod. The Graphters mod pod. Love it.
The Graphters modcast.
Oh dear. There we go. Now we're getting a little bit.
That's definitely on the. I'm
Just
getting
be careful. There will always be a T-shirt at the end of this. You know that.
More than one. Right, so yeah. Other things, yeah, other podcasts or Discord servers or anything like that. What they have is they have like one very distinct stylized thing that they can put on anything. What we're going to have is like T-shirts, and every single one's going to be completely different.
Yeah.
Don't forget underwear.
Unique one of ones. Unique one of ones. Left sock will be different to the right sock, just to trip everybody.
But you've got another pair of those that are exactly the same.
One short, one hard. It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Short arms, long pockets again.
Do you know what? I'm losing the direction of this podcast now, so I don't know where to steer it now.
I know where we can steer it.
You can steer it wherever you want. We've done where you're from. We've done your education. We've done. I'm just ticking them off in my head. The normal things.
I have got a question for you.
We do normally have a question list, actually.
We do. But I'm going to ask you both anyway. It's not quickfire, but it is probably going to be like a quickfire because it essentially will be fundamentally the same sort of questions. Have you both of you like gaming, don't you? What's your favourite game? And it can't be one you've worked on.
Stunt Car Racer on the Amiga.
We are going seriously back.
Yeah, and then before that, Head Over Heels.
See, I tell you what, I'm going to go even further back. I'm going to say one of my favourite games was Boris Goes Skiing.
Mine was Ikari Warriors. That really goes far back. That was like a Commodore 64 game.
Also, there was Tribes 2, because Tribes, from Sierra, was a big game.
And obviously from this century it's Rust, but we know that from the Thomas Butters podcast.
Yeah, my favourite game of all time is Half-Life 2, if I'm brutally honest. I have played that game over and over and over and over and over.
I'm looking forward to Em's response.
So am I.
So mine is Rainbow Six Siege, mainly because I have 2,500 hours in it.
2,500 hours!
I might have played a little bit competitively during uni.
Yeah, that's not just a little bit competitively. That's obsessively competitively.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, though.
That is brilliant.
I'm only 1,200.
Yeah, I joined like esports challenges throughout the pandemic. Just little ones with my friends, but didn't go very far.
Have you ever thought of playing professionally?
Yeah, but it's another one of those industries.
You know what? I'll be honest with you. I think, yeah, it is. But if there's anything that I will say, that is for the VFX. It used to be, particularly in 3D and VFX and stuff, that it was a very, very male-dominated industry. But the production side of TV had already moved across to basically heavily female production. However, the actual industry, the VFX industry, it's still male-dominant, but I wouldn't say it's dominated. And for example, I know a lot more people who are modelers who are female. I know in the 3D industry. I know background artists who are female. I know animators. I know so many female animators. When I worked at Cosgrove Hall for a while, in its second incarnation, and when we were there, I think most of the animators were in fact female, and they were amazing. So hopefully, what's happened in broadcast will happen as well in games. So it equalises more because it does need to. You're absolutely right.
It's definitely getting better.
I mean, esports is such a young industry. They have, I think, the esports cultural sort of development side of things or should be in a better place than probably what the dev side of the industry is. What you've just been describing, because they're starting with they should already be starting with knowledge of there is a gender bias. So they should be trying to fix that. I was just quickly looking at the ratio, because I remember somebody was talking about this recently at an event I was at when we were at an Access VFX event, and in the credits, 21.6% of VFX credits were ratioed to women in VFX. So it is getting better.
Yeah.
It is getting better. Still not right, but it is getting better. But this is the thing, and I was discussing this with some of the people at the event. We can try and champion as much as we want. We can try and champion from a standing position, which is where we are now. But unless we go back to source, which is to the talent pipeline's beginning, if we don't change the gender bias at that point, you're always going to be, I think, negatively impacting, the actual talent pool that exists, if that makes sense. So, the work really needs to happen at the very beginning of that talent pipeline. That's where we've got to get it all right, get it sorted. That means a pre-college, they've got to be getting their messages into all students that anything's possible. Going back to what Em's mum, or whether your mum or your dad said, you can't do that. That's not a job for girls. It's a job for anybody that's creative. So if you're creative, and there are so many people that are creative out there that get pushed into, non-VFX, non-CGI industries, they end up in the art school and down the art lines, or they end up in the fashion industry or whatever else. And the bias then swings the opposite way. So, especially in photography and things like that. So we just need to get that message organized and sorted. I'll get off the soapbox now then, shall I?
No, but it's an important soapbox.
Yeah, like for what I've been doing the last year is trying to make sure that I go to events that are specialized for women. So like there is a Women in Games organization, which I am an ambassador for. Very cool. And they hold events throughout the year in multiple different countries just to try and get the women together. But they also have a Discord server, which is like really helpful because it's like a network for women to support each other, which is something that you don't really see often. And with how tough the industry can be, because you'll still have like all the old guys that are like, oh, I don't like change. Like having that network helps.
Yeah. Having that attitude doesn't help. It doesn't make anything better. Everybody's got to like just go, look, it's a job.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are. Can you do it well? Then yes, come on board, please. There's plenty of cheese. Everybody dive in and eat.
Yeah, but I did do a talk during Animex with Behaviour North Interactive. And when I was doing that talk at the end of it, a student actually came up to me and I told them the exact same story I told you about how I got in the games industry. And the student literally looked at me and went, that was so inspirational because I also grew up without games.
Yes.
And I was like, yeah, you don't have to play games to work in games.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't even help either.
Yeah. Like if you want to go into like design, play games because that helps you understand how people make games and how you could make it better. But like if you're just doing art, you don't really have to play them. You can just look at the pictures, you can look at the videos.
Yeah.
You can also just look at the world around you, especially if you're a realistic artist. You could do photogrammetry. You could take pictures of whatever's sat right next to you, like this massive kayak that sits next to my desk. Thanks, Bruce.
A kayak?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, that we can't obviously see because the camera's not pointing at it.
But hang on. The camera is now pointing at the kayak. There it is.
Yeah, my God.
Yeah.
And a Lion King.
Oh, yeah. Because Lion King is one of the greatest movies.
Absolutely.
Which... Oh, is it? In that case, that brings me on to my next question. How perfectly done was that? It's almost like we organised that time.
Just quickly before we drop off that though, I mean, I think I've said it before that Steve Jobs, the speech that he gave, I think which the graduation speech that he gave, always resonated. I always used to tell students that you really need to look at some of these things because we take ourselves so seriously at such a young age, and we don't actually enjoy the moment that we're actually living in. We spend all of our time. I tell my son this regularly. You spend all your time worrying about the future that's not actually happening. It's not there yet. You've got to live in the moment. So, I think when Em's talking about the old guard that's still in power, they are still in power. They are still there, but they won't be forever. And the one sure thing we've all got is that final end. So therefore, we can all think that change will happen. And we just need to be prepared and prepare the mechanisms to make that change as transitionable as possible.
Yeah, there's also positive change in Sweden. There's a lot of women workshop games camps going on over Sweden. I can't remember the name of it. I'm going to try and dig it out and I'll share it to the Discord for where anybody from all over the world can apply to go to a dedicated game camp, and it's like a rapid game jam purely for sort of women. to sort of study and make connections and things like
That's
that.
cool.
So
So
I'm
good.
seeing very positive things coming out of Sweden, all parts of Sweden, in relation to that.
Yeah. So very quickly, so what's your favourite film, Tim? What's your favourite film of all time?
You're going to judge me for this massively.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably. That's the reason why I asked these questions.
Scream.
I love that film.
Because the beautiful thing is when Scream came out, it was like it completely turned on its head the typical trend that was going on at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that they killed Drew Barrymore within the first 15 minutes of the film was just like, because back in those days we didn't have online trailers. We used to watch. Was it with Barry?
Oh yeah,
On
Barry Norden. Barry
BBC2?
Norden.
Barry Norden,
What?
that's the one. You watch about the films, and always as soon as they said, "Oh, Drew Barrymore," you think,
Harry
okay,
Norman.
Barry Norman, that's it,
Not
Barry Norman.
Norden.
Yeah, it just turned the entire film industry on its head, and then we just saw all the copycats come out. I Know What You Did Last Summer, and so forth. But I just remember watching the pirated version.
It was the OG, wasn't it? It was the OG.
It was the OG, and it was spectacular. And it's probably one of the reasons I do a bit of special effects makeup as well, because I loved what they did in that as well.
It is just such a wonderful film. I can't help but agree with you.
So what's your favourite film?
Princess Mononoke by Studio Ghibli.
Ooh.
An absolute masterpiece of art. All the Studio Ghibli movies are, to be fair.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Spirited Away.
Laputa is one of my favourites.
Yeah.
So are you Ghibli fan?
Yeah. I don't watch much anime, but the Studio Ghibli stuff is in a different genre of its own. It's incredible.
It's just watching artwork.
What do we think of the Blue Eye Samurai then? Because Gary posted that up.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's brilliant.
It's really pretty.
It's called adult animation.
There's some naughty scenes in it, yeah.
It's all sorts of things, yeah.
It's very good, but yeah.
When you're working and you're obviously, like a lot of us now, we're sitting in a room and we just do it on our own. What sort of do you listen to music while you're working?
I have a strange setup when I'm working because I'm very much used to in the environment that I work in. You get emails regularly, you get phone calls regularly, and people just walk into the office regularly. So I've stopped listening to music, but I just put my headphones on, and people don't talk to me, and it's amazing. And if there's somebody walks in that I need to speak to, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm not listening to anything. Like, why do you do that? He goes, because I don't want to be disturbed. But yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, but everybody now knows Tim if they listen to the podcast.
My lot won't listen to this, thank God.
Oh, you say that.
Say that.
The plan is to take over the world, Tim.
Monday's going to be an interesting day.
What are we doing today, this night, brain? Same as we do every night, Pinky. Try and take over the world.
Yes.
Right. So, do you listen to music when you're working?
So I watch Twitch, but I also listen to music.
So you work and you have a Twitch stream running and you're listening to music?
Yeah. Like if there's not a streamer that I want to watch, I'll just listen to music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular that you listen to when you work?
Probably all the heavy stuff. It's called new punk now.
Oh, they've changed it again.
Like the category that I listen to is like new punk. But yeah, I listen to bands like Architects, Amity Affliction, Beartooth, all that lot.
Would Korn and System be classed as new punk?
I don't think so. I think that's still classed as metal.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Do you know, I must admit, I listen to mostly soundtracks and lo-fi when I'm working, or synthwave when I really want to move around the room a bit.
Well, lo-fi is great if you need to get in the headspace as well.
What is?
And the chilled style of music is great if I needed to get into a certain headspace. So I'm coding for a narrative game I've been working on, and to get into that white headspace, just getting that nice mellow sort of chilled music to go with it puts me right in the zone to be able to just knock out narrative. And then if I need to do something slightly hectic, I put on something very, very heavy that I can scream along to.
I tend to listen to audiobooks nowadays. I've mostly moved most of my library now into Audible's library, so I just sit and listen to audiobooks.
How do you concentrate?
I don't. The weird thing is I don't listen to the words. It's just listening to someone talk. I just find it easier.
It's like being sat on a call.
Yeah. Obviously not a work-related call.
These days,
Well-
my background sound seems to be just literally the ping of when someone comes and says something on Discord.
Yeah, there is that now. Yep.
If I need an alarm clock, I just unmute Discord for the morning. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely thanks to
Unbelievable.
Peyton for giving us the morning call and getting us out of bed.
He's definitely getting us out of bed at midnight.
Yeah, there's the thing. Peyton, you need to go to bed before midnight. You need to be switching off and getting rid of the
Consider
screen.
yourself told.
Right.
Go
Yes.
to bed at a normal time, like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning.
Like a normal
Yeah.
time, like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Like
I
proper,
remember-
proper old people.
I remember normal time when I wasn't crunching. Hey,
It seems that crunching only exists now, Tim, in educational land when you're getting your
it does
your
very much
masters.
seem that case. That's it. Do a masters, get married, try to do all the things in the same time.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And keep your crunches up.
And while keep working at the same
Yeah.
time. Yay, fun.
What's next on
Okay,
the list, Gary?
Well, what I've got here is a bunch of ors, A or Bs, basically. So A or B. Unreal or Unity?
Unreal.
I really like Unreal, but the problem is I know I can code very nice. I like C# and coding in Unity, but then with what might be coming to Unreal, I might lean towards Unreal.
What have I missed something?
No, nothing at all. Moving on.
Nothing. No idea what you're talking about. Move on.
No, I need to know because I've got to learn Unreal. I've started this week.
And NDA.
Oh, Nodening doesn't need to know.
Yes.
NDNA. This one's a dead cert. Maya or Blender?
Blender.
Blender.
We're all Blender users on this call.
Although a year ago I would have said Bayer.
Yeah. Do you know what?
2 years ago I would have said Max, but Blender.
So we're all Blender users. That's great to know.
Right. Next question. He says.
There is now a Maya guy actually in the Discord who's joined today, which should be cool. So we've got a little bit more of a balance going back.
Well, that's good. We've got the icons now as well.
Yeah, we've got the side effects people have joined as well. So Peter's joined, and I think Sam from the education team's joined today, which is cool. All these people that are there to help the community, which is cool. I just love it.
Next question then. Now this has actually got three. Before this had two options. This has now got three. Substance or Quixel or Marmoset Toolbag 4.
Substance.
Substance. The other two are yeah. Well, Quixel I think makes you a little bit lazy, but hey.
Yeah. Have either of you tried Marmoset Toolbag yet?
Yes.
I tried it a long time ago.
Mm.
It was awesome then. Just the price tag attached to it was outweighed by other commitments.
I think the weird thing is that when we were teaching in EduLand, and I believe people still are teaching the Photoshop method of texturing and whatever else. Industry just has gone, look, this works. Let's just use this, and it's just so apparent how integrated Substance Painter is now into both engines, whether it's Unreal or Unity. So therefore, why make things more difficult?
No, and in VFX as well.
I do catch myself sometimes doing something in 3D and then looking and goes, oh, I can unwrap this, throw this into Photoshop. No, I don't need to do that.
No. That was it, though, wasn't it? It was like Photoshop was king for texturing, and that was it.
Yeah, but it was never designed to be that, though. It was always a retouch package, so...
Well, it might do. Adobe or Resolve?
Adobe. Because Substance is now Adobe.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. But that's the only thing that you use in there, isn't it? Do you use Photoshop a bit?
I can use Photoshop, but we also use Affinity Designer instead of Illustrator.
Are you really using it?
Yeah.
Oh my days! That's the first I've heard it being used in the industry.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, isn't it?
It's great.
And it's
I love it.
so cheap.
Yeah.
I have it installed as well.
Yeah. It's what is it like 50? Is it like 50 quid? 47 pounds
I don't
for a
know.
license?
My CEO paid for it.
But it is on an iPad, isn't it? And preferably an iPad Pro.
No. Windows and Mac as well.
No, I've got it on my desktop.
They do discounts as well, I think.
Yeah. No, it's superb. I've got the Painter, and that's it's like having it's less like Photoshop and more like Lightbox. but it's still brilliant. But no, all of it, I'm always staggered by that. I think it's fantastic. Oh, that's made my day, Em, to hear that's being used. Really has.
I picked up all 3 of the Affinity, I think, for £35 for the entire package.
Was that when it kind of like first started out?
No, they do sales
Do
regularly.
they? Well, to keep me eyes on.
Keep an eye on them, because they'll suddenly turn around and say, right, we got an 75% discount across the board. And you can just go in, grab all 3 of them.
Might be worth dropping that into the useful resources when they do drop, if you see them.
As a pre-warn to everybody listening, keep an eye on them though, because I picked up Affinity as what I thought was a great deal, and then 2 months later they released Affinity 2.
Yes.
And then I had to buy it all over again. So keep an eye on what versions they're on.
That is true. However, until they bring out Affinity 3, any other updates or upgrades you do get for nothing.
It's almost like ZBrush before they got bought out. Sorry.
Oh yeah, true. Now we've got a very picky eater in the house, apparently, and we've got another person. Are you a picky eater, Tim?
If I get into my size, you don't get there being a picky eater.
There's nothing to you, svelte.
Except for mushrooms. Mushrooms are just the devil's work.
Okay. In that case, Tim, what would be your favourite working lunch?
Even though I'm not on a diet, which is like the majority of my time. Oh, bacon sarnie.
Ooh.
Bacon sandwich.
Red sauce, brown sauce, or no sauce?
Brown sauce.
Absolutely.
Brown sauce and a bacon sarnie.
Yeah.
Obviously, Greg's.
It's obviously Greg's.
Come on. You can't not be a Geordie and not default to Greg's.
Is it Northeastern originally? Is it originally from Northeast?
It originally started in Newcastle. That's why there's 33 stores in Newcastle alone.
33?
Yeah.
Hell,
How many Greg's are near you?
There's 4 near me,
Oh, wow.
like within a 5-minute walk.
Wow.
Which one are you? Do they know you by name?
Nah, not yet.
All of them. Right.
Although every single time I go in there, they ask me if I'm a student, and I keep saying no. And I could just get a free biscuit from it.
Listen, I'd be saying yes if it was me, if I could pull it off. I've got to say, that's brilliant now. I mean, and also the best thing is it means you can actually, totally guilt-free, get a bacon sandwich from all 4 of them. And no one will know you've had 4 breakfasts.
Yeah. It's great.
So clever. That's brilliant. So, but what would it be in Greg's then? Because we've got a bacon roll there.
So if I go for everything that I get there, it would be the ham and cheese baguette, a drink, a sausage roll, and a spiky Mikey.
What?
What?
A spiky Mikey, which is a star-shaped biscuit covered in chocolate and sprinkles.
So literally, main course, drink, pudding.
Yeah.
Did you purposely drop into an ASMR style voice to explain the biscuits? I was like,
Always.
It's like, this is not just any old Greg's. This is if Marks and Spencer's did Greg's.
This is the Greg's.
I do have a Greg's close by. Ooh.
I wish there's one in Media City now, and there wasn't one for ages, and then they put one in. It was just like you could literally hear the screams of hallelujah as the doors opened from miles. The queues. It was like Star Wars back in the day. The queues went all the way around the block.
So when I went to London last year for EGX, I asked Bruce if we could go into like London city centre specifically just to go to the new Greg's store.
Was it worth it?
Yep, it was worth it. We got to go on the Elizabeth line for the first time, which was absolutely worth
that is
it.
definitely worth it. Yeah.
And then go to Greg's.
Yeah,
right outside the Lego store. Brilliant.
It's almost like you're in Europe when you're on the Elizabethan door. You've got a double set of doors to go through.
Is it the Elizabethan line or is it Elizabeth line?
Elizabeth
line.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I keep asking my lead if we could do that for our next track. They keep telling me to be quiet. So.
Yeah, but it'll the more you ask for it, the more you're planting the seed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm very much on the fence, I suppose. As long as it's not too cold, I love most things for lunch. But my favourite thing is a cheese ham and tomato sandwich with mustard. I love it, especially when it's toasted bread. Tea or coffee? Tea.
Never liked coffee. Yeah. So I always go for Yorkshire tea if I'm going for a hot tea.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Although what I was just drinking was an orange and peach Twinings tea.
Gosh.
Oh, good to that. That's nice.
Felt like getting
pushing the boat out.
Yeah. But I do occasionally like A bubble tea. I was gonna say I always go for a peach black tea with the peach bubbles or a bubble tea. Very
Sounds
good.
good.
There is also a rose black tea, which is very nice. Highly recommend.
Tim, tea, coffee, something else?
I don't really drink either. I drink coffee when I need to stay awake. I have the experience of my fiance's Norwegian, and everyone over there drinks coffee like it's water, and their coffee is probably like dangerous levels of caffeine. It's ridiculous. But if it's anything, it has to be tea, I suppose. Tea, milk, sugars. Happy days. Let's go.
I got one more question. Only one more. It's quite an important question. This is whether you have your admin status removed or not. It's dependent on answering this correctly. Because there's only one answer, people, just so you know. Yeah. Unless you give one which is completely off the board and not actually one of the two options. Custard cream or bourbon biscuit? Tim.
Dummy Dodger. No.
Same question.
Bourbon.
Yay!
It has to be the bourbon biscuit.
What?
Yep,
Sorry, Gary.
Oh,
Right, excuse me, I'm just going, where is it now? Changing
the order.
too late.
Change the order.
server settings.
We've already revoked your status.
Yeah, yes, I know. I'm very aware of that. I'm merely the monkey now. That's all right.
Very much with them. Mods stick together.
I'd rather be the monkey than the organ grinder any day.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
That was brilliant. I enjoyed that.
It's and it is nice to have more of us on board. So when John and I do decide to retire from this thing, you two can take over
and do a much better job.
I'll just sit behind Em and just let Em carry on. It'd be great.
Talk to myself.
It would certainly help our diversity that we have with our guests.
Yeah, well,
unfortunately, we're of an age where most of the people we know are actually the same gender as us.
No, because my problem is that every time I try and persuade someone who knows people to come on the show, they kind of go, "Oh no, no." Em you're setting a trend here that needs to carry on. Basically,
It will.
I'm going to say there's someone on the Discord, a girl called Sarah Booth, who I've mentioned before. In fact, did you notice her Yorkshire tea in the short film?
I did. It was brilliant.
Yeah, when you said Yorkshire tea, I thought I should mention the little homage to last night at Soho.
Well, we're going to get Sally Shepherd from Arrogant Pixel. She's going to be joining us in the new year.
Nice.
Yep, to be confirmed. But I've name dropped you now, Sally. So you are.
I'm cutting that bit out. Don't worry, everybody.
We definitely.
There's been a few times when John's gone. So name dropping this person and this thing that I shouldn't be talking about.
Sally does work at Arrogant Pixel.
I've got to cut it out now.
I just like giving him a job to do.
Yeah, well, I'm going to make you. I'm not going to make you edit again. I could never make you edit again.
It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
No, I know.
Isn't that Em's job now? She's the editing. Get this.
Wait, what?
Em's only got one ear as well. I mean, which side is yours not working?
It's both. Yeah.
So, am I loud enough? Do you need me to talk louder?
Sorry, what?
No, my one of the things I really like about this industry is it does actually help to keep me young, I think. And the fact that I meet so many wonderfully talented young people just makes me feel that there's a future in what we're doing, you know. And I'm so proud to be a part of this industry. And if I can give anything back, if I just even if I can get one person to produce a really nice piece of work, that makes my day. If I can just get one person to do a proximity test on their high res and low res model just once, that makes me happy.
Just model it. It's fine.
Yeah,
I know.
Model what's in front of us.
Have you got, just out of interest, Em, have you got a limit on how many polys you can have?
To a degree, yeah. But because the train is the iconic for the game, we can push the limit a little bit more than the environment team.
Yeah, it's the hero object, isn't it?
That's why I stayed on the vehicle team.
So in the game, because I've never played it. Oh, you're driving the trains, yeah?
Yeah.
So your viewpoint is always from inside the cabin, or can you do a wing shot? Or
I believe that there's like a freeform camera where you can fly around. You can take pictures of the trains and stuff like that, and you can pretend to be a passenger if you want. Like you can stick it on auto drive, but yeah.
Do you know Francis Bourgeois is?
No.
He's the train guy off TikTok who gets super excited.
Yeah,
you really need to get him somehow into the game. It would
Them in VR. Hey.
I'm going to have to go, so I'm happy to bring this podcast to an end if that's all right with people.
Absolutely, just do our outros.
Everyone's like, thank God, yes.
It was like a little bit more work time.
No more. Emma's like, I've been trying to work for the last hour, and you have been getting in my way.
It's fine. I need to go and buy some wrapping paper because I ran out. So
let us say goodbye. Listen, guys, thank you so much for joining me and John this evening. We really do appreciate it, and we're very glad, as I've said, to have you around and make so much more stuff happen with you guys involved in it. Quite frankly, because you're brilliant, and we both think you're fab. And on that note, I think it's probably time that we all should say bye-bye.
Yeah.
And then give me something to edit sometime before February 2005.
2005.
Yeah.
25.
Go back in time.
2005, yeah. Why not? If anyone not seen Bones, I'm going to go and jump into a time machine, get a little tattoo on my arm, and appear in 3 places in the past.
Hey.
Become my own great-great-granddad. Oh, sorry, spoilers. Right, so it's. I'm just going to say, Tim, thank you both so much for coming. Goodbye, Em.
Goodbye. Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure.
Take it easy, Gary.
Ta-ra, mate. It's been special.
It's been emotional. It's definitely been a thing. And I'll see you. Oh, and everybody, before you go, happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas. Yeah.
Very Crimbo.
Have a nice Christmas.
And happy Christmas to all of our listeners, because we know you'll be listening. If it gets edited before Christmas Day.
If it gets out before Christmas.
It got edited 18 years ago. Did you not listen?
Hello, 2026. Welcome in.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Konnichiwa.
Are we
Right.
back in the EU yet? Okay, cool.
Which, yeah, Chinese New Year.
Em's
yeah.
had her 30th birthday. Well done, Em.
John's retired.
Hey.
Tim's been the first man to give birth.
It's been amazing.
That's your intro now.
Very possibly. An outro is an intro. It could listen. There's so much crap in there that I've been saying. This 5 hours later.
Really?
So much stuff in
Yeah.
there. Right.
It might be our
Anyway,
first 30-minute podcast when the cuts are done.
Remember to stop recording.
That's a good point. Well, I will, because I've got to collect all the files. So, in that case, it's a good night from me.
Oh, and it's definitely good night from him.
Very much so. Good night, everybody. Take care. See you all later.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
This work is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 4.0 international license. Any opinions stated during the course of this podcast belong purely to myself and to John and are based at the time that we record this. The theme music is My Everything by DJ Quads. If you like that, and I'm sure you probably did, there is a lot more of his great stuff which you can find at soundcloud.com/DJ Quads, or his music is also promoted by www.free-stock-music.com.